We have a special guest who flew in from someplace, we're going to find out where, Joe Kissell, an expert on Macintosh, do I have that right?
Sure.
And Doug Cox, our regularly occurring friend from
Fresno Mac Club.
Fresno Mac
Your
Club.
Mac Guy.
Your Mac Guy, we call him Your Mac Guy. And Joe, you're in town to speak to the Mac group.
Yeah, I flew in from San Diego this morning, so...
And there's flights from San Diego to Fresno now?
Yes, direct flights. Can you believe it?
That's great.
And almost free.
These modern times that we're living in.
And what was the weather down there this morning?
About like here.
It's usually perfect there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not quite as warm there, but pretty nice.
Now, you've written a book on the Macintosh and the workings and stuff like that.
A few. I've actually written over 50 books.
50 books.
I've kind of lost count, but this is my most recent one. So this is about maintaining your Mac, and this is about preventive maintenance.
Now, Doug, our friend Doug, for example, works on Macs or repairs
Yeah,
and stuff.
I work here in Fresno.
And I asked him the other day, aren't you like the Maytag repairman? Because do things go wrong with Macintosh computers? Or do you need to maintain them?
Well, yes,
I have like
yes to both.
I have like 1,000 clients, and a lot of those clients I see like 1 hour a year just to do some maintenance
Just a
or
little
to do some installs or a checkup, because yeah, they are very reliable. And a lot of Macs out there are 6, 7, 8 years old, and
Yeah.
they're still chugging along.
They
And
just
a lot
go
of
and go, don't
PCs
they?
don't live that long.
Right.
Yeah.
And do Macs get a virus? Do you have to watch out for that?
It's possible, but it's very rare. And if you practice, safe sectors, you can avoid those sorts of things.
Anyway, I'd like to hog the conversation, but you're here to talk about your book or your appearance today at the Mac group?
I will talk about anything you'd like me to talk about.
How about your website?
Yes, well, I have a website too, joeontech.net.
joeontech.net.
Right on. So, the main topic of my talk tonight at the Fresno Mac Club is about my book, which is about preventive maintenance. And so basically what I'm trying to help people to do is I'm basically trying to put you out of business, Doug.
Thanks.
I want to make sure that people are preventing...
And I paid for this trip, huh?
That's right. So it's I'm trying to prevent problems so that you don't have to go visit a repair person. I mean, things are still going to go wrong anyway, but it's just like a car. If you get a brand new car and it's fast and it's great, and you drive it year after year after year and you never change the oil or
It's going to eventually
tires or
build up
anything,
the problems over time.
things are going to happen. It's not a big deal to change the oil, replace your tires, your belts, your hoses every once in a while, and it's far better to spend a little bit of time, a little bit of money doing that preventive stuff than just waiting until it dies. And so that's what this book is about. It's about the easy things you can do right now, things you can do every day, every week, every month, and so on that will help prevent
problems. Are you talking about physical things or software
Well,
things?
both. So on the physical layer, Macs, most of them have fans that draw in air to cool it off, and that means that dust is going to accumulate. So definitely getting rid of the dust is a physical thing that you can and should do, because that's going to keep it cooler and keep it working better for a longer period of time. And also things like if you have your Mac plugged in directly to the wall, no surge protector or UPS or other sort of thing, a power surge, lightning strike, something like that could really fry your Mac, and so you want to protect it in that way. So there are some things like
that. So for the indestructible computer, the Mac, it is destructible if you don't use a surge
it's a machine.
protector.
The Titanic was indestructible.
That's right. They're all just machines, very nice machines, but there are certainly physical things that can go wrong. But a lot of the things that I talk about are digital. You want to make sure that you're getting rid of clutter that you don't need that could impact your performance, and even things like making sure that you get rid of spam, but also check your spam mailbox to make sure you haven't gotten rid of something that you shouldn't, and clearing out your downloads folder, and repairing your disk if it should have any errors on it. There are lots of very, very simple tasks that you can do to fix the digital problems as well as the physical problems before they get out of hand.
So when you get those disk errors, it's not that section isn't lost forever. You can sometimes repair it.
Well, it depends. Sometimes one of the essential maintenance steps that I recommend, and I have an entire book on this topic too, is backups. So the thing that, this is not just Mac users, every computer user really needs great backups. Because if something does go wrong, like your hard disk physically dies, or your cat knocks over your computer and it crashes to the floor, something happens, then the only way you're going to get back your data is if you have another copy of it someplace. So I am
And more than one.
And more than one, yes. So I am super big on backups. I say a lot about that in my book. I have another whole book that's just about backing up your Mac, and I'm going to be talking about backups tonight as well.
Well, where do you back it up? To a CD or a DVD or to a flash drive, or what's the best way?
You're showing your age. CDs, DVDs, how quaint.
How last century? Yeah.
Yes, 5 years ago that would have been an interesting idea. So I mean, you can, if your Mac is old enough to actually have a CD recorder or a DVD recorder built into it. Yes, Apple's newer Macs don't, and they work, but they're slow, and you might have to do a lot of disk swapping. So for most people, an external hard drive. You know, I have
They're not
one-
that expensive.
No,
A terabyte even. You could
yeah, I have.
Terabyte's about $59 now for a
Wow. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
That's right, super cheap. So an external hard drive is cheap, it's easy, it's fast. There are also cloud backup solutions. So you can go to a company like CrashPlan or Backblaze, pay them $5 a month, and as long as you have a fast enough internet connection, you can back up all your
And
stuff
it would work
to the cloud.
automatically.
Right. So you don't
Yeah,
have to have
doesn't
to think
Apple
about
have
it.
its own cloud solution?
Apple does have a cloud solution, but it's not for backups, or at least not for Mac backups. Longer story that we probably want to get into today, but Apple has backup software that's called Time Machine, so you can use that with your external drive to back up your Mac. But if you want to, either as a supplement or instead of a local drive, you want to back up to the cloud, you have to go to another service for that.
Now, are you talking about just backing up the data, or is there a way to back up all your programs you've bought and stuff like that?
There are lots of ways of doing it. I recommend sort of three things. One thing I recommend is make a complete copy of absolutely everything on your disk.
So you can replicate it. If
You can
your
replicate
cat
it.
knocks over the computer, you get another one.
That's
make,
right. In
make
fact-
it look like your old computer.
That's right. In fact, you can even boot from your they're called clones or bootable duplicates. You can actually boot up your Mac from that if your computer dies or your hard drive dies and get right back to work. So that's one thing I recommend. Second thing is what I call a version backup, and that's something like what Time Machine does. It copies your files to another disk, and then every time you change them, it copies another copy of that file, but it doesn't delete the copy that was there before. If you delete a file, your deleted file is still in your backups. That way you can go back to the way things were yesterday, last week, last month. And then the third component is off-site backup, so you want to have another copy that isn't right next to your
So if
computer.
your house burns down, you still got
Exactly.
something.
You have theft, fire, flood, something
Theft,
like that.
yeah, okay.
You have another copy someplace else.
Yeah, I often tell people, don't leave your backups plugged into your computer when you leave the house, if you think about it. Because if somebody comes into your house, steals the computer, the backup's going with it, because it's
Absolutely.
attached to it.
Right. So what we have is redundant terabyte drives for us here, but if they lift out one machine, everything's gone then. So,
That's right.
Good point. The Mac guy. Anyway, last thoughts before we go? Can anybody come to the...
Anybody can come to the meeting tonight. It's at 6:30 at the UC Merced Building, 550 West Shaw, East Shaw.
In Fresno.
And it's across from Fashion Fair Mall.
Right, exactly. Now, by the way, before we go, I have a Mac, Apple device, not a Mac, right?
Yeah.
Apple device, and it offers me cloud backup. Should I be doing that? I mean, it's expensive.
you should. So your
It
phone
says
here,
I don't have enough, but it keeps saying I don't have enough.
Yeah, so you might, depending on how much space you have occupied in your phone, you might have to pay Apple a few bucks for extra storage. Apple does offer backups of everything on your phone or your iPad to the cloud. Unfortunately, that's just for phones and iPads, not for Macs. And it is a good idea. If you don't want to do that or can't afford it, you can instead hook it up to your PC or your Mac and back it up using iTunes.
Well, another problem, this isn't your problem, because you guys are smart enough to go Macs instead of PCs, but my PC kept filling up. I took it to my guy, he says, it keeps making a backup of your iPhone every time you plug it in, a unique backup. So I filled my hard drive. He says you have like 100 backups of your...
That might be a few too many.
Yeah. Anyway. So go tonight, see Joe Kissell, the author of many books on many things, especially Mac, and master's degree in linguistics, of all
right,
things.
yeah.
So he's going to be well-spoken tonight, we guarantee that. We say UC Merced. It's in Fresno on Shaw, across from Fashion Fair, 550 East Shaw at the UC Merced building.
Right.
And it's free.
Yes, we do have a membership fee if you want to join the club.
Yeah, it's a good way to be introduced to it. And again, the website is
joeontech.net for my stuff.
joeontech.net, and our old friend,
YourMacGuy.com, or the Mac Club is FresnoMug.com.
all right, we'll be back with more Central Valley Buzz right after this.